Hey listener, welcome to the Comic Relief Podcast.
Hope you survived the experience.
The Comic Relief Podcast is an unscripted discussion about the pop culture surrounding comic books, with your hosts,
Uncanny Thomas Logue
and Mighty Michael Miranda. Welcome to our second podcast. This is going to be the movie news episode. We're going to be talking about movies that are coming out here. Some new news, some a little bit older. We're going to be just going down the list and covering a few things here.
Because we always have something to ramble about.
Absolutely. That's what we do as we ramble. Okay, you want to start?
All right, let's talk about Paul Rudd being cast as Ant-Man.
So Paul Rudd, the funny actor, is being cast in I don't know, what version of Ant-Man do you see them doing?
So this is something I already confirmed. I was thinking they were going to do Eric O'Grady, the latest Ant-Man.
Mhm.
He's more of a comedic kind of guy, and it would have made the most sense because he was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, kind of had no morals. Like he stole the Ant-Man suit to basically benefit himself and to woo ladies, and he's just kind of a slime ball. So I thought, hey, that's going to be Paul Rudd, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I actually looked, and Paul Rudd is cast as Henry Pym.
Oh wow, so he's going to be Hank Pym. He's going to be a classic Ant-Man.
I'm not happy about that. I was hoping if they were going to do Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, they were going to use Eric O'Grady and just not touch Hank Pym or Scott Lang, because those two are like, serious characters. Whereas Eric O'Grady would have fit with Paul Rudd. I would have been okay with that one.
So you don't think that Paul Rudd can pull off a serious role, but maybe with just a little bit of charm?
No.
No, you don't think so? You
No.
think he's just going to be all slapstick and goofy?
I just saw Anchorman 2, and anyone who's listening, I would recommend not going and seeing it.
Oh, what? Really? I haven't seen it yet.
I will say it now.
Oh,
Worst
no.
movie I've ever seen.
Oh, really? Are you serious? Why is that?
It had a few laughs.
But only a few, that's it?
Only a few. He did This Is 40, which until Anchorman 2 was the worst movie I've ever
wow.
seen. There's not much I've seen Paul Rudd do that I like.
I mean, I've only ever seen him in that kind of a support role, and he's always just kind of been the smiling, charming friend in the movies that I know of anyways. I mean, I can't say I go out of my way to watch Paul Rudd. He seems like a charming enough dude. I don't know if he can hold his own movie down, but I'm going to hold my opinion until I actually see him, because, I mean, remember when Tony Stark was cast by Robert Downey Jr., a lot of people got really down on that. They didn't think that he had the chops to actually hold down a Tony Stark, and he played him off perfect.
I agree. I was one of the people who was not a big Robert Downey Jr. fan at that time. There's no way this dude is going to pull off
A drunk
billionaire.
who's
A drunk, okay. But I was like, there's no way he's going to do it. And I was blown away. First Iron Man blew me away. But Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr., they seem to have a lot of quality. Whereas Paul Rudd and Hank Pym's like this biochemist.
Yeah.
I don't see Paul Rudd pulling that off. And, I'm curious to see who else they cast. Is Wasp going to be in it? Anyone else?
So him and it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt who were considered the frontrunners for the part. Do you think Joseph Gordon-Levitt would have been a better cast?
I think anyone would have been a better cast.
Oh, no. Really?
No, I don't know. The Ant-Man movie is slated to be released July 31st, 2015.
For that, let's take a look here. And also on the Avengers news, they sent out a casting call for a possible second villain in the Avengers sequel. And it looks like we might have a Baron von Strucker as a villain in the second movie. And it looks like we don't have anybody yet. There's a description that they're looking for. This is reported, I think it's by Variety or Screen Rant is the source that we got. And they're looking essentially for a particular type of actor, potential.
They had 2 listed for potentials, right?
Yeah, I believe it was 2. It was 2 possible actors that they're looking at are Doug Ray Scott, most recently in Mission Impossible 2, and Martin Sokas from SimCity: A Dame to Kill For, which is still in production, I believe, or maybe post-production. But essentially, they're looking for older, kind of handsome gentlemen. So I'm not sure why they didn't come to us.
I should check with my agent.
Yeah.
So far, that sounds like me.
Oh, am I your agent?
You can be.
Oh, crap. Sorry, dude.
Damn it.
So, of course, we got James Spader cast as Ultron, who's going to be the main villain of the movie. And they're looking for a potential secondary villain. It looks like it is going to be Baron von Strucker, which is going to be interesting. And, what his ties are going to be in the movie with Black Widow, because he was the one that essentially turned Black Widow out to be a spy, right? Or trained her?
I believe so. I'm just surprised that they're not setting this up in Winter Soldier. Because he's a Cap villain. Like, he's been a Captain America villain for a long time.
Oh, yeah. yeah. I bet you they will, man. I bet you they will. If they don't, I bet you they're going to do something in the post-credits.
Well, they don't even have anyone cast yet as Baron Strucker yet.
Oh, yeah, the movie's coming out here soon, isn't it?
Yeah, the movie's right around the corner. Because normally, Marvel's really good about setting stuff up. So it would have been kind of cool to see Baron Strucker like in a flashback in Captain America.
Maybe they already have this person cast. They just haven't released it yet, because...
Well, maybe they want a surprise.
Absolutely. Maybe they want to save the actual announcement for the post-credit scenes in Captain America, which would be a great move. Switching over to the X-Men, looks like Anna Paquin has been cut from the X-Men Days of Future Past. And since announcing and since they've been putting out all these like little bits of information about Days of Future Past, everyone's curious to see who's going to make the cut. Since it is spanning across all X-Men timelines, who's going to be there? Are we going to have Cyclops? We're going to see Jean Grey? Just little questions like that. And it looks like Rogue was going to be in the movie, but apparently she was cut out.
Yeah, from what I read, it was she had a small part only, and I guess after the editing and to make it smoother, it was her small part was actually cut from it. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you, if you get the Blu-ray DVD, it's going to be there. It's going to be there.
Guaranteed. I'm kind of bummed out. I did want to see them tie all movies and as many characters as possible, even if it was a small cameo role. I mean, I would have liked to see Rogue play a bigger role.
Right.
I did like Rogue in the movies, and I like Anna Paquin. It's too bad she got cut and she's not going to be in the movie at all.
I'm curious to see what they do with Days of Future Past because it was such a great story in the comic. I want to see how they take it and adapt it, because I know one of the changes they've made, supposedly, instead of an adult Kitty going back in time, it's going to be Wolverine. Surprise.
Yeah. No surprise.
I mean, oh my god, they focused on Wolverine.
Yeah, no surprise. Hugh Jackman originally wasn't sure if he was going to be in this movie. I think the way they convinced him to be part of this movie is to give him the
money,
the leading role, and the money. Exactly. There was no way Hugh Jackman would have played
a trivial part.
Yeah, a trivial part or a side part. And I mean, he wasn't really a trivial part in the book, but he's got to be front and center in these X-Men movies. I mean, he's producer for his Wolverine movies. There's no way he's not.
Well, and Wolverine is such a big name. Of course, they're going to focus it on Wolverine.
I'm okay with them changing things up to fit the movie universe.
Yeah, no. I'm fine with that.
Whatever works.
They've done that with all the other movies.
Yeah,
so
they've screwed all the other movies up. Why not one more? And okay, so speaking of post-credit scenes, do you think they'll be hinting at Apocalypse at the end of this one?
I'm hoping so, because they've already announced that the next movie after Days of Future Past is X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So I am hoping that they're setting up an Age of Apocalypse movie.
It has to be an Age of Apocalypse.
Do you know how awesome that would be?
That would be great.
That whole universe was excellent. It was magnificent.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely. A lot of what ifs. Essentially, this could be their way of recasting aging characters or actors that don't want to continue, right? Do Age of Apocalypse. I mean, that's essentially what we're waiting for, is a reboot of the X-Men franchise, which doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon unless Age of Apocalypse takes advantage of all the time traveling from Days of Future Past and alternate universes and stuff. I think they could pull it off here.
Like you said, there's so much that they can do, that they can alter stuff around. Mm-hmm. So much potential sitting right there.
Yeah. And I'm still upset that they've killed Cyclops off, man. How can you have X-Men, a continuing X-Men franchise, without Cyclops?
I have a similar question. Like, how can they have Captain America without Nomad? Dude, that'll make sense if you listen to our first podcast.
How awesome would they be if in the Winter Soldier movie, Bucky shoots somebody in the back, thrown in the trunk? That'd be awesome.
Another thing for X-Men Days of Future Past is people should visit www.trask-industries.com. It's a pretty amazing site. It's got all this information about how Sentinels will help mankind.
Absolutely. Very cool site. I like how movies are doing these like secret viral type sites now. A lot of movies are going that way. The Amazing Spider-Man is going that way. So the X-Men Days of Future Past is not to be outdone. There's a very cool site. A lot of cool downloads, a lot of cool little videos. I highly recommend to check it out. It's very well done too. It looks clean. It looks like a real website.
That's what I was gonna say. It looks like a real company's website. It's like got that thing about 50 years of Trask Industries and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it gives like a whole history of what this company's done.
And you also get a glimpse as to what the Sentinels are gonna look like. What do you think?
I don't mind. There's been so many different versions of the Sentinels. I don't mind that they've changed it.
I kind of like them.
Yeah, my preference is the classic Sentinels. That kind of purple, pink kind of look.
And it looks like like they kept the color scheme, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. The glowing orange eyes, which is really good. I know you can, the old classic Sentinel look only really works in the comics and cartoons.
Yeah.
This Sentinel, it looks pretty darn cool. It was very modern, clear face mask with 2 glowing lights behind it for eyes. I like it. It's neat.
I'm curious if they'll allude to Nimrod also, who is like the ultimate Sentinel.
Absolutely. They have to. They have. Well, I mean, they don't have to, but there's got to be something.
There's so much fans want.
Maybe even a hint at something, right? Master Mold, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Something like that. So we'll see. It's very exciting. I like the direction they're going. They're going in a very cool direction with the X-Men. Instead of just, creating standalone movies or creating their own stories, they're actually digging into the X-Men mythology, and going into some really cool stories that we've always, growing up reading these books, you always think, wouldn't it be cool to see a Days of Future Past or Age of Apocalypse movie or something like that, and you think, oh, they would never make those,
Yeah.
And here they are, man. We're getting them, which is really awesome.
What I like is that from what we're guessing, it looks like that they're tying it in.
Yeah.
Days of Future Past is leading to Apocalypse. It's not just individual movies. They're taking this and each one is having consequence into the next.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Who knows if the Apocalypse movie is going to be the second part to the Days of Future Past, or if the Apocalypse is going to be its own standalone trilogy. I mean, if they do an Age of Apocalypse, why not? Make it, more than one movie. That was a huge crossover.
Learn from The Hobbit, make one book into 3 movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Milk it. Well, Days of Future Past was only 2 books. The Age of Apocalypse, so that was like a whole big summer event spanning across all X titles.
Yeah, each one ran 4 issues, and there was like 8 titles.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And apart from that, there was the Alpha, the
Omega.
Yeah. Okay, and going to other Marvel movie news, we have Vin Diesel is confirmed that he is the voice of Groot. It was a long suspicion. He tweeted pictures of himself like walking on stilts, but he had never confirmed why. Everyone just suspected and speculated that he was going to play Groot, and he finally tweeted a picture of himself with his arms around a big bust of Groot, which is really cool.
When you read it, like the captions in the comics were always like big and loud, So I always imagined him having a really deep voice. Vin Diesel, I think, is a perfect fit for Groot.
And they're going to actually let him, put on stilts. Maybe he's not going to actually be in a suit per se, but if they're doing the
CGI,
exactly
the dot thing like they did with Gollum.
Exactly. That's very cool. I like it.
Okay, so that means so far for Star-Lord we have Chris Pratt,
which this is like Chris Pratt.
I know nothing about him.
You talk about Paul Rudd being cast poorly as Ant-Man. Chris Pratt as Star-Lord is such a strange cast.
But Star-Lord is kind of like very like, what is going on? Like,
doesn't
have a good grasp of what's always happening around him.
Yeah.
Very, very like sarcastic.
Chris Pratt was essentially a waiter who had no intentions of going. He was discovered as a waiter and got into TV and movies that way. He doesn't strike you as a superhero type. He's kind of a big oaf.
Okay.
But have you seen the pictures that he's tweeted since he's been cast?
No.
Dude is yoked.
Really?
Dude turned that big oaf like into muscle mass. But he again, like Paul Rudd, he has charm. He's an idiot, but he has charm.
He has that charm.
You don't hate him. You like him in the show. He's a dummy, but you root for him and you like him.
Cool.
I like him as a Star-Lord. It should be interesting. It should be cool to see someone, that goes from a supporting role to a leading role and see how he handles it.
Next on that team, we have Rocket Raccoon being voiced by Bradley Cooper.
So
I can see it. Bradley Cooper is very, very sarcastic dude, and he's got a lot of that charm and stuff like that, and I think that'll fit with Rocket Raccoon.
Well, all he has to do is really go in and just record, bang, you're dead.
I'm going to shoot you.
And then just replay that for the entire movie. That's it. It's going to be 2 seconds of voice acting for him. And they could just replay that piece, over and over. Yeah, you were a big fan of that, right?
Oh, yeah. The previous Guardians of the Galaxy was an excellent series.
Mm-hmm.
I got the new series, and I think I only collected 5 issues before I handed it over to Michael and said, I'm done.
I like it. I never read the older series or the original series.
Don't read the original with Charlie 27 and all of them. Don't worry about that version. It has nothing to do with the current team. Totally different team, except for Major Victory. And then we also have Gamora being cast by Zoe Salanda?
I don't know
Saldana?
Do we know where she's from?
She's the chick from Star Trek Into the Darkness.
And it's Uhura, Star Trek fans.
Oh yeah, Uhura. Sorry.
Uhura.
Get hate mail for not knowing how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
And I think she's got the look, because she's definitely a beautiful woman. Very, very, very beautiful. But I've never seen her do anything kind of actiony,
Okay.
which, Gamora is known as this major assassin. You don't mess with Gamora. So I'm curious to see how they handle that. Not to say it's impossible, but...
Yeah. As long as she prepares well,
Right.
she goes in and she does her training
Her workout.
beforehand. Yeah, her workout. I think her stunt doubles can handle the
actual
action
fighting.
Yeah, the actual fighting and stuff. I mean, the presence plays a big role, especially when you're dealing with a character that demands, that kind of screen presence. Like in the book, she's powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And, like the presence I think she can do, because she did it in Star Trek. Like, she came across as a very strong woman.
No, I think she did. She did. She was woman enough in the Into the Darkness movie to like play alongside Spock and to actually get into his head and be a strong supporting character. And I think she can pull it off. I think that's a very good cast.
The last one we have is Drax, who is David Bautista.
Yes.
All I know about him is that he's a wrestler, and I'm sure if James Edmondson were here now, he would push me to the side and talk about how awesome Dave is. But I know nothing about him.
He definitely has the look, man.
Oh,
This
yeah.
dude is
He's
built
muscle.
like a brick house. Yeah, this dude is all muscle. So I mean, I'm not sure how his acting chops are. We've seen wrestlers in movies. We
have. I was going to talk about that.
Punisher, right? Oh my God, the Russian who played the Russian
Oh,
Diesel.
Dolph Lundgren.
No. Well, the Punisher. Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
not
let's
that
take it back.
Punisher.
The original.
Sorry, I'm going all the way back.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the other one.
Yeah, in the Tom Jane Punisher,
Yeah.
the Russian with the red and white striped shirt was played by Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash. There you go.
Yeah, and I thought
James is like screaming right
Yeah.
now that we didn't know Kevin Nash.
Yeah, but he looked the part. He looked perfect.
Right.
No speaking in the role though, and I wonder if that's because wrestlers have the look but just don't have the chops. Yeah, the acting chops. So it's gonna be interesting because Batista definitely looks the part. I mean, this dude is yoked.
It can go good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Because The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson, has gone into the movie side, and he did things like The Rundown, which is probably one of my favorite action comedy movies ever. He also did Faster, which was a cool action movie. He did The Game Plan, which was a cool side, where he's the dad, and he's got the little kid who like bedazzles his football and stuff like that.
The Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, he did the Tooth Fairy,
Tooth
which
Fairy.
not so good.
Yeah.
Not so good. But then he also did Walking Tall, and he did like the Fast and Furious movies. All of them. He was really good for action.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then you have Triple H.
Okay.
Did you ever see Blade Trinity?
Yeah, he was in that. He was holding the little chihuahua, wasn't it?
The Chihuahua that was a vampire.
Yeah, the chihuahua that was a vampire.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's really Triple H's fault, but
I don't think it was. So wrestlers have the look, man. They have the look. If you're looking, if you're looking
someone
for
buff and strong,
and just and like an imposing presence, wrestling has a giant pool of those guys, you
right?
know? But it's the acting. Can they act? Can they hold up roles?
Yeah.
You know? And not just talk. It's actually playing a role because wrestlers are
they're actors in a way.
Yeah, they are. And we've had the Roddy Pipers, the Hulk Hogans,
Steve Austin.
Steve Austin. Did Steve Austin do? Oh yeah, he did.
He
do
did
movies,
a couple of movies.
John Cena, yeah. So they're no strangers, to
getting into the movie scene.
Getting into the movies, but can they hold? If you want more than just that look,
right?
So it's going to be interesting. But I like that casting as well.
I'm curious to see how it goes because the dude is definitely built like Drax. I'll
give
you that.
Absolutely.
Slap some green paint on the dude and it's Drax.
Yeah.
Shave his head.
Oh, heck yeah.
And then next we have Sinister Six.
Right. So Sony announced an actual Sinister Six spinoff. The Amazing Spider-Man is another one of these movies that have secret sites. So if you go to enemiesunite.com, it opens up a page that shows, I believe it's Harry Osborn on a computer. And there's a countdown on the computer that he's on. And there's only one working link on this site.
I couldn't even find a working link. I thought it was just a countdown.
No. There's a working link, but all it does is link to the announcement, to Sony's announcement that they're spinning off the Sinister Six and Venom movie. So they're expanding their franchise. That's the only working link. So the timer though counts down 3. It looks like it counts down to New Year's. So looks like we can expect some kind of a major announcement for the Amazing Spider-Man franchise on New Year's, which is pretty cool. and also a Venom movie.
Yes.
And
Yes,
also,
they did.
so it's not a Venom as a part of the Sinister Six or anything like that. They're actually going to do a Venom movie, which I am all for.
Venom is a character that I think, as a villain, can definitely hold his own.
Oh, are you kidding me? Heck yeah.
So I'm curious which one they're going to do.
Mhm.
Because, you have the Venom who, I want to eat your brains. And then you have the Venom who's the anti-hero.
Yeah. I hope the Venom goes beyond one movie, because now you talk about Venom and who he fights. I mean, if you have Venom, you got to have Carnage.
Right. Which will probably be the villain for Venom, right?
Yeah, it has to be, dude. I mean, if they're doing a Venom movie without Spider-Man,
It has to be Carnage.
It has to be Carnage. There's no way around that. I think Venom was so wasted in the Spider-Man 3
2?
movies.
2 or 3?
It was 3. Doc Ock was in 2.
You're right.
Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man 3 just wasted such a great villain. A villain that I think could hold his own trilogy.
Who else would he fight besides Carnage? Who else would you see Venom fighting? Like, if it can't be Carnage and it can't be Spider-Man, who else is he going to fight?
I don't see him fighting anybody else, man. I think it's got to be Carnage.
So it'd be Carnage all 3 movies?
That's a good question.
See what I'm saying?
But okay, well, yeah, I guess so. If you were gonna do a Venom with Spider-Man, you can do it just as Venom and Spider-Man in the first movie, and then spin off into Carnage, maybe the second and third movie. And I mean, Spider-Man has such a deep rogues gallery. I really hope they don't create a symbiote just for the movies. That would totally blow.
In the Spider-Man universe, they have 7 different
man,
symbiotes?
there's so many of them.
Yeah.
There's Anti-Venom, there's Toxin, there's...
Toxin was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, there's a bunch, man. There's even a team of symbiotes.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, okay, so storyline, yeah, I could see it happening, right? Because you find out that these symbiotes are born of each other. So why wouldn't a team of mercenaries want that
symbiote relationship? Yeah,
exactly. So that team of mercenaries hunts down their own goop
symbiote.
Yeah, but of course they're not as strong as Venom. They're or Carnage. They're a little weaker, and I believe they're a little more Unpredictable, yeah.
I was thinking, if they do a Venom movie, they could pull from the Spider-Man gallery of villains. Why couldn't Venom fight Hobgoblin?
Oh, absolutely. If they're doing a Sinister Six movie, right? Why don't they have all 3 movies cross over? The Spider-Man and the Sinister Six and the Venom and all that,
So do you think the Sinister Six is going to be people that Spider-Man's already fought? So do you think it's going to be like Doc Ock, Electro, and stuff like that? Because they haven't said anything who's going to be in it.
No, they just announced that they're going to do it. I think so. I think this Amazing Spider-Man movie is going to be the introduction to them. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they don't pull 6 new villains that, comic book readers might know, but then your average movie goer is not going to know.
Yeah, I hope they build up to it. I think what Marvel did with the Avengers and, the standalone movies leading up to the Avengers, I think that changed everything for comic book
proof
movies.
of success.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think that first Spider-Man movie, while not a throwaway, it was already too far into production to jump on board, to that. So I think they're kind of riding the ship now, and they're going to start doing that. They're going to start introducing the 2 or 3 of the characters, and then maybe we'll see 2 or 3 more in the next movie.
Right.
And then that'll spin off into its own Sinister Six, and then
very cool.
And also, the Amazing Spider-Man also has a Tumblr page. If you go to thedailybugle.tumblr.com, it's kind of like a news page where they announce, stuff that happens in New York.
Right.
Pertaining to the characters within the movie. So if you go, they announce some mob activity and stuff like that, and, exclusives and stuff that would be happening in that world.
Yeah, like how Spider-Man rents for free or something like that. That's one of the articles I saw.
Yeah, I don't get that, but Spider-Man rents free apparently, which is nice. It looks like that's all we have for the Marvel movies.
Yeah, moving over to DC next, we have Wonder Woman has been cast for the Superman versus Batman movie. Her name is Gal. I'm gonna probably mispronounce the last name. Gadot. G-A-D-O-T. She's gonna be playing Wonder Woman. I personally think this is gonna be a good choice. I know the general fan reaction has been against it. They're saying she's too skinny and she doesn't have the because, apparently Wonder Woman needs
has to have. I didn't know this was an issue. I think she has
yeah, and
but she doesn't have ginormous.
Yeah, she doesn't have Linda Carter breasts.
Yeah, whatever, man. That should not be.
That shouldn't even be a factor. But so many people are complaining about it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you have a bunch of, this, comic books are targeted toward a young male audience.
Way to stereotype the male comic readership.
Yeah. So this is what comes up, right? So we get finally we get a name for Wonder Woman, and the big issue is her not big enough.
Right.
Well, she says she's going to start training. She's going to start putting on some weight. But as far as her breasts go, man, that's it. It's fine. It's not an issue.
I agree. It's not an issue.
Did you read that she may not be in costume? That it just might be her character?
I can sort of see that. I would hope that they would put her in, if not like a Wonder Woman costume, something that kind of resembles, so we know who she is when she shows up. I mean, obviously we're going to recognize her on screen, but it'd be kind of cool if people could identify her like immediately, like, oh, you know, even if she's not in a costume, she's got something kind of Wonder Woman looking.
Oh yeah,
like the bracelets. I don't care, something like a lasso at her hip.
Oh, I think that's a huge mistake, man. I think not putting her in a costume is a huge mistake. The expectations are so high right now, right? And with that formula that we spoke of movies leading into a bigger event movie, it's not just enough to tease at characters, especially when there's so much hype around it, right? And we're already getting Superman and Batman. This is the crossover movie.
Right.
Bring in other heroes, you know what I mean? Let's see how they look in their costumes. Let's see what I hope they tweak it.
They could copy what Marvel's done and set this up to lead to a Justice League movie.
Oh yeah,
which I would be happy with.
Absolutely, and not only that, I mean, a Wonder Woman movie, a Flash movie. I mean, the formula that Marvel has used is excellent. Go with that. You know, whoever owns a comic franchise should just go, just like Sony is doing and what Spider-Man and Fox is doing with the X-Men. Do it. DC and Warner Brothers should do the exact same thing. You know, add your characters in the movies, cross them over, make it feel like a big lived-in universe.
Yeah, an existing tied-in
universe.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to point out for the people who are complaining about her body, Chris Evans, who is Captain America, and Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, did not have the bodies that they have now for those movies. I mean, those dudes, they didn't look like average Joes. You know, they didn't look like you and I, you know, but they weren't all buffed out.
Above average?
Yeah, above average. But they weren't, you know, super buffed out. And one of the things that she had mentioned saying is, it's physical preparation that I'm starting now, which includes kung fu, kickboxing, swords, jiu-jitsu, so I can gain body mass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's already taken the role serious. You know,
absolutely.
She knows that people are bitching that she's too skinny, so she's going to buff it out. I found a cool little article where Linda Carter was asked what she thought about Gal being Wonder Woman. She asked if it was weird seeing anyone else play Wonder Woman, and she said, I don't think so. It was a long time ago. I care more about the character continuing than holding on to my piece of it. I hope she has fun with it.
That's cool.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's very cool.
And then they said, what about the fact that Wonder Woman will be in a film that already has Batman and Superman in it? And she makes a really great point, I think. She says, maybe that's better. She won't have to carry the whole film. It takes the pressure off. I wish her well. I'm just glad she's going to be out there again. Maybe she'll get her own show again. I thought that was a good point, that it's not just a Wonder Woman movie. So, you know, she doesn't have all this pressure to be perfect.
I mean, I'm hoping that every side character that comes into these movies, just like Wonder Woman, I hope she steals the scene when she's in it.
Kinda
I hope she can.
Loki and Thor too.
Dude, I mean, they're talking about making a Hawkeye movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Before the Avengers, dude, who knew about Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Nobody. You know, nobody. More people knew more about, more Green Arrow than Hawkeye. And now they're talking about Hawkeye getting his own movie, which is awesome. And if anybody can have their own movie, it's, come on, man. DC has such a rich pool to choose from, man. They've always had like the big names.
Right, that's what I was just about
Batman,
to say. They've
Superman,
always
Wonder
had
Woman,
the
Flash.
big
Yes,
names that everyone recognizes.
Oh, yeah, heck yeah, man. I don't know why Warner Brothers is so hesitant to, give these guys their own
show.
Yeah, yeah. But then you have movies like Green Lantern too, which kind of...
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah. I mean, I think with the proper writing, any character can be great.
And we got more news?
Yeah, absolutely. So along with the major movies that Warner Brother and DC are putting out, they're also talking about making lower budget, I don't want to say B-list characters, but smaller characters may be getting their own movies as well. They announced that they might be doing a line of movies starring the Suicide Squad, Booster Gold. So we might be seeing some of the lesser known names in the DC universe get their own movie, which would honestly be a shame, right? If Booster Gold got his own movie before Wonder Woman did, or The Flash. But still, I mean, regardless, I think that's a very good idea.
I can see the Deathstroke, because they've been alluding to him in the Arrow show, so he's been getting a lot of popularity. And then Suicide Squad would not surprise me either, because Deadshot, who is also in the Arrow show, is in Suicide Squad, and Suicide Squad has Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Oh,
who everyone loves.
Absolutely.
The male population loves Harley Quinn.
If they're thinking about bringing Arrow to the big screen, dude that plays Arrow in the CW should have the part.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's his. And I don't care if Warner Brothers or DC, has made it a point to say, no, the TV universe is separate from the movie universe. You guys are screwing up. I mean, they're screwing up if they do that.
I agree.
Big time. They already have such a solid cast and such solid actors playing these roles. It's already there, man.
I agree.
You already have a Starling City. That piece of the puzzle
is
there. Set. Leave that alone. Add it to the rest of the pieces that you're building.
I know you haven't caught up to season 2, but I'll tell you one thing: Barry Allen appears in Arrow.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that. I'm can't wait to get to that point and bring them. I mean, you've seen the Barry Allen episodes?
Yes, I have.
The dude that plays Barry Allen, good character, solid.
He does a good job.
Yeah, keep him. You know what I mean? Bring him on to the big screen.
Yeah, well, they're alluding that Flash will have his own TV show soon.
Oh yeah. They've already announced. They're already announcing supporting characters,
right?
And villains and Dr. Zoom and all these other characters I've never heard of. But you know what I mean? If you would have told me a few years ago that I'd be like really digging
watching Arrow.
Yeah, watching Arrow and digging Green Arrow and wanting to know who these people are and like looking to buy his books, I would have told you you're crazy. But dude, it's a very, very, very cool character. Not every superhero movie has to be this big, gigantic, multi-million-dollar production. I'm okay with a smaller, lower budget comic book movie, man. And even for big name characters too. I mean, you have street level characters that don't need to be, saving the entire world. Even Spider-Man, man, is that street level character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He fights crime at a purse snatching, mugging level.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even Wolverine, I think, in smaller movies, not so much these big save the world type movies. You don't need that.
Well, now that Wolverine is carrying a gun, he can be street level.
Oh, absolutely.
He doesn't have to chase the guys down. Just blam, shoot him in the back.
Shoot him in the back. Just bam, you're dead.
Throw him in the trunk.
Throw him in the trunk. I hope they can do more with less and make whatever money they need to spawn new movies and spawn sequels and just keep the ball rolling. Don't let this be a phase where it's going to be like, oh yeah, that was the superhero movie era. Now we're done with that.
Now we're done.
It was westerns, and then it was zombies, and then it was superheroes, and now we're on to this. No, let's keep this genre going.
Yes.
There's a lot of...
a plethora.
A plethora, yes. There's a plethora of characters and stories, and they're already written. All these scripts are already out there in print. You know what I mean? You don't have to do much to them.
Yeah, and Hollywood's out of ideas. They're redoing everything, so why not just keep plucking away at comic books?
Absolutely.
So,
as a comic book fan, I'm all behind that, 100%.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a toad gets struck by lightning? This question was asked in the year 2000 in the X-Men movie when Storm attacked Toad. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this bit of news came in while I was editing the second issue of the podcast. Apparently, Toad has been cast for X-Men Days of Future Past. A young version of the Toad will be played by Evan, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. It's Jonigkeit. You may wonder who he is. Apparently, he did one episode As the World Turns. He was in The Gift. He was in Crooked Necktie. He was in Amazing Sports Stories. He was in Calendar Girl. He was in Mysterious Journeys. And he was in Sarah and Dee. Like me, you probably don't know what any of those are. But anyway, he's been cast as a young Toad. Another special announcement I want to add at the end of this podcast that we did not have time to record is two very special people who got a hero's welcome. The first one you've probably heard about. His name is Miles, and almost everyone now knows him as Bat-Kid. It's not every day that a child swoops in and saves an entire city, but that's exactly what Miles did, dressed as Bat-Kid through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Miles, at the age of 5, is a hero to the people of San Francisco as it was converted for one day into Gotham. And while he battled the likes of Penguin and the Riddler, Miles is also battling a tougher fight. He's fighting leukemia. The founder of Clever Girls Collective had contacted Make-A-Wish Foundation and extended her help in making all of this come to life. With her staff, they contacted Twitter and they gave her the account of SF Bat-Kid. With the help of social media, everything simply exploded. Bat-Kid's wish had suddenly become a reality. In an amazing display of restoring faith and humanity to the human race, the people of San Francisco gathered and cheered on Miles, who was dressed as Bat-Kid, as they arrived in a Lamborghini adorned in a Batman logo. From there, they battled the Penguin, the Riddler, and even saved a beautiful damsel in distress. As Bat-Kid made his way through San Francisco, he was cheered on by hundreds of people who had gathered to show their support. Many of them were wearing official Bat-Kid t-shirts. Kid Monarch clothing, which is based in San Francisco, created this t-shirt with 100% of the proceeds benefiting the Make-A-Wish Foundation. When the city was finally saved, Bat-Kid had earned the key to the city from Mayor Lee. He was quoted as saying, "Today, November 15th, 2013 is Bat-Kid Day forever." Another story that went viral but did not get as much news coverage is the story of Dennis. Dennis, like Bat-Kid, was a fan of all things superhero related. With superhuman strength, Dennis fought every day. You see, Dennis was both physically and mentally disabled. However, the fight would take a more tragic turn as Dennis was diagnosed with terminal cancer and given 5 to 6 months to live. Dennis's good friend James Phipps reached out to David Johnson and expressed his desire to do something special for Dennis, because this would be Dennis's final Christmas. Reaching out to the cosplay community, they asked them to send photos and cards of them dressed up as heroes so that Dennis could have a superhero-filled Christmas. Once again, the superhero community responded. Facebook posts were shared, tweets were retweeted, and soon enough, a few news stations actually picked up on the story. That's when it really started to kick into full motion. I don't even recall how I first heard about the story myself. I know it was on Facebook, but who or how it came across my feed, I can't even begin to remember. I just knew I wanted to do something. However, despite my love of comics, I actually have no costumes of superheroes, though I have a closet full of superhero t-shirts. So I decided I would send Dennis a picture of my dog who I had once photoshopped in the Iron Man armor and called him Iron Dog. However, as I thought about it more, I wanted to send something from me as well. So I used a photo of me dressed up as a pirate, which I do every Halloween, and sent a photo with a note on it about how Dennis, whether he knew it or not, was my hero. It was great to see fellow coworkers and very good friends of mine also get involved. James Edmondson and Colleen Rodriguez also prepared and sent things to Dennis. I thought it was great that we could all share a part of our passion. James had sent Dennis a picture of him dressed in his Star Wars attire. Colleen had sent a picture of her and her friend Cindy dressed in their steampunk clothes. And I had sent him a picture of me dressed as a pirate. I'd even gone as far as decorating the back of the manila envelope as a pirate map. And Colleen did the same, decorating a card with gear logos and her envelope with tentacles, giving it a very Cthulhu look. As I understand it, Dennis received these cards. However, sadly, on December 29th, 2013, Dennis left the mortal world to continue the fight in the realms beyond. I just want to thank everyone that showed these two people anyone can be a superhero. We just need to believe.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Relief Podcast.
We'll hope you join us next time as we continue to discuss all things comic book related.
And until then, make mine Marvel
And DC.
and independent.
Don't forget to check us out at comicreliefpodcast.com, or you can visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Comic Relief Podcast. Or go to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Comic Relief Podcast. And finally, there is our Twitter page, which is twitter.com/Comic Relief PODC. I'd like to give a special shout out to Travis Richards, who did the music for the Comic Relief Podcast. Visit his website at www.travisarichards.com.